When I opened my eyes again, my elder sister was excitedly telling me that she was going to benefit humanity, improve human genes, and give birth to a truckload of super bear babies. Having a super bear boyfriend gives one an incredible sense of security. Last night, when a man glanced at me, Han immediately beat him to a pulp. What a valiant man. I felt my vision blurring. I rubbed my eyes, as if I could still feel the suffocation of a toilet plunger blocking my throat. Sitting beside me was my biological elder sister, Xiaoyu. At this moment, she was glaring at her phone with gritted teeth. It turned out that Xiaoyu had posted a video about giving birth to super bear babies to benefit all of humanity. She thought that everyone would immediately fawn over her. However, the result was beyond her expectation. The internet was filled with scolding towards her. A group of low-IQ apes who knew nothing yet talked nonsense. Super bears are clearly superheroes. Once I give birth to super bear babies, I'll wipe them all out. In my previous life, Xiaoyu first insisted on finding a super bear boyfriend, saying that he was tall and strong, a natural king. People like me who are of lowly status would have to submit to super bears in the future. Later, she went even further and told me that she was going to give birth to a truckload of super bear babies. At that time I was startled. Having a super bear boyfriend was already very dangerous, and I never expected that she would want to give birth to super bear babies. I hurriedly and cautiously tried to persuade her, saying that the super bear gene was a genetic defect. People with this gene were withdrawn, irritable, and had a natural criminal personality. When it came to having a baby, we should still follow the doctor's advice and strive to have a healthy and lively baby. This was responsible for both her and the baby. As soon as I finished speaking, Xiaoyu immediately gave me a roundhouse kick, yelling that super bears were superheroes. She said I was just jealous of her and couldn't stand to see her doing well. I didn't give up and continued to explain. I even dug up many cases of super bears endangering society, and even showed her videos of super bears being violent. After watching, instead of being scared, Xiaoyu's eyes even lit up. She became more convinced that super bears were natural Changjia, and she even played the victim-blaming game with me. I argued rationally and couldn't help but quarrel with her a few times. I originally thought it was just an ordinary conflict between sisters, but Xiaoyu harbored a grudge against me. While I was asleep, she secretly broke into my room with her super bear boyfriend, suffocated me to death with a toilet plunger, and dumped my body in the wild. In this life, I decided to put away my kindness and respect others' fates. I smiled and agreed with her, saying that she could contribute to human evolution, and that the important task of human genes was entrusted to her. Xiaoyu eyed me suspiciously, seemingly not understanding why I had changed my tune. Are you serious? I quickly nodded and said, yes, I was too narrow-minded before. How could I possibly know anything? As soon as I said this, Xiaoyu gave me a disdainful and somewhat dry glance and said, you, a top student, don't even understand as much as I do. Lower-class people are truly lower-class people. I continued to flatter her, saying, sister, can you introduce a super bear boyfriend to me, someone like brother-in-law? Tall, handsome, and manly. I appropriately showed an obsessed look. Xiaoyu snorted triumphantly and said, you little slut, do you think you deserve a super bear boyfriend? You're the kind of person who deserves to marry a lower-class person and have a litter of lower-class kids. Fliho, Xiaoyu said in a condescending tone, since you're sensible, I'll allow you to take care of me and the baby. If you take good care of us in the future, maybe I'll let the baby call you auntie. I sneered inwardly. Who would be willing to get involved with super bears? Not hearing my reply immediately, my sister became extremely impatient. She was like this. As long as anything didn't go her way, she would fly into a rage, throw things, and curse. From childhood to adulthood, my parents always told me to give in to her. Right now it wasn't the time to anger her. After all, there was a super bear behind her. Regarding my personal safety, I didn't dare to take any risks. I could only quickly wave my hand and say sincerely, people like me don't deserve the title of auntie for them. Only you, sister, are worthy of being the relative of a super bear baby. My sister was pleased to hear this and didn't forget to order me to buy bird's nest and Australian lobster to nourish her body. Anyway, she wanted whatever was expensive. I looked at her, happily stroking her belly as if she already had a super bear baby. I almost rolled my eyes to the sky. What body nourishing? What you really need to nourish is your brain. But I still praised her continuously. Everyone can say nice words. Anyway, I won't spend a single cent closing my eyes. The scene of being brutally killed in my previous life emerged in my mind. Heaven gave me a chance to be reborn. It definitely wasn't for me to save fools. Fortunately, everything was still in time. I was reborn in the previous life. A week before the company was going to assign me an important project. This opportunity was extremely rare. I had only been in the company for 3 years, and originally it wouldn't have been my turn. It was because the leader trusted me that he strongly recommended the opportunity to me. If I did well, not only would my salary double, but I might also get promoted. Recalling my previous life, I happily shared this with Zhao Yu, thinking I would get her blessing. Unexpectedly, upon learning this, Zhao Yu's first reaction was to suspect that I had used my body for improper dealings, scolding me for being shameless and embarrassing. She also said that I was incompetent and would only hold others back if I went. She said that if I had any sense of self-awareness, I should stop embarrassing myself everywhere. She kept saying that it was all for my own good. I listened to her and refused the leader. I willingly took care of her at home, not even willing to let her wash her underwear. All of this started from the day I was born. Since I was born, the sentence my mother said to me the most was, "Ching Ching, your sister is in poor health. You have to let your sister have more and take good care of her, okay?" Although I was the younger sister, I was used to letting her choose whatever good things there were. To better take care of her, my parents forced me to be in the same class as Zhao Yu. I was short and small, the youngest in the class. Every day, I had to carry several heavy school bags, one for her and one for her good friend. Standing beside her, I was exactly like a maid. Subsequently, when our parents passed away, only my sister Zhao Yu and I were left to depend on each other. After years of being brainwashed and influenced, I willingly dedicated myself to her. The money I saved through frugality was taken by her to give to her dear Super Bear husband. I became extremely thin and sallow-faced from overwork, while she was plump and pampered, never having to do any household chores, living like a delicate princess. Even for her sake, I gave up better career prospects. However, in her eyes, everything I did was taken for granted. I didn't understand before, and it was only until my death that I realized that sisters should support each other. You treat me well and I treat you well. That's what true sisters are like. She was like a leech eager to drain my very essence. After my death, she started a live stream, packaging herself as a selfless sister who had supported her younger sister through school. But the sister she loved had allegedly tried to seduce her boyfriend. For a time there was a flood of online scolding. Taking advantage of the hype, she harvested a wave of fans on the back of my death. Later, she started live streaming to record her love story with her dear Super Bear boyfriend, attracting many fans, among whom there were quite a few minors. In her description, Super Bear men were not only full of a sense of security but also more capable than ordinary men. I don't know how many minors she poisoned with such ideas. Thinking of this, I didn't hesitate to agree. I informed the landlord that I wouldn't renew the lease, and under the pretext of working overtime at the company, rushed to pack my luggage. After all, these two idiots together were simply a scourge on earth. Zhao Yu was naturally willing. She couldn't wait for me to leave quickly so as not to get in their way. The two of them brazenly got intimate in the room even when I was still at home. To seek excitement, they didn't even close the door. I mentioned this to Zhao Yu several times, but she waved her hand, thinking I was making a big deal out of nothing. She said I didn't understand men's charm yet, and that Zhang Long and she were doing it for my own good. At the moment, she wished I would move out immediately so that she could have a good time with her Super Bear boyfriend. Her Super Bear boyfriend Zhang Long, however, stared at me like a snake, his gaze gloomy and terrifying. I shuddered. I would never forget the smile on Zhang Long's face when he killed me. He was simply enjoying the pleasure of killing. Even when the police suspected him, he was still smiling. Without me getting in the way, Zhao Yu showed off her affection every day. A day with my little Zhao Qi and Super Bear dear husband. Today he took me shopping again. On the way, a man was leering at me. Without a word, my dear husband punched him. My super handsome dear husband doesn't allow me to wear short skirts. He says I'm his alone. Today, he's a husband with an extremely strong possessive desire. Anyone who has the slightest understanding of super bears and tries to persuade her will be rebuffed. She says they're jealous and envious of her husband's manliness, and she calls them weaklings. Over time, no one tries to persuade her anymore. Even my newly turned 2-year-old little cousin complained to me that Zhao Yu asked her to serve Zhang Long together, and she actually used the word serve. When my aunt found out, she was so angry that she cursed. Zhao Yu contemptuously called my aunt ungrateful and then fanned the flames, criticizing my cousin's figure, saying her breasts weren't big enough, her butt wasn't curvy enough, and her legs weren't straight enough. The only advantage was that she was a virgin and relatively clean. My aunt was so angry that she trembled all over and slammed the door out. After that, Zhao Yu was completely blocked by all relatives. A month later, I received a call from Zhao Yu. She brought good news. She was pregnant. I sneered inwardly. What a fool. Super Bear syndrome with its mood swings. Before, with me as her super blood bag and the money left by our parents, Zhao Yu was able to meet Zhang Long's demands. Now that she had another super bear around, her days were really promising. Zhao Yu spoke in an anxious tone. You've been my servant for 20 years and a domestic one at that. Don't worry. In the future you have to take good care of the baby. Otherwise, I won't let you see the baby even once. Hearing this, I almost couldn't help laughing out loud. A super bear baby, which she regarded as a treasure while others avoided it like the plague. I suppressed my laughter and secretly taunted her. Yes, I'm not worthy of even seeing your super bear baby. You can enjoy it all by yourself. Without waiting for Zhao Yu to reply, I hung up the phone. After some time, I saw a WeChat Moments post from Zhao Yu. Welcome the super bear baby. Your king is coming. Along with it was a test report showing XY chromosomes. This time, as she wished, it was a super bear baby. Since she got pregnant, she showed off her affection more and more frequently. Today my dear husband cooked white porridge for me. Thank you, husband. A little pregnant woman with a big belly is going out. All you lowly humans get out of the way. The baby in my belly is very active. You just wait. When the baby grows up, he'll deal with you. Given what happened with my cousin before, no one paid any attention to her. These two strange lovers were simply a disaster on earth. Soon I received a call from Zhao Yu. On the phone, Zhao Yu was sobbing and her tone was very urgent. Zhao Qing, come back quickly. Something terrible has happened. Brother Long, he hit me, woo-woo. I was lying leisurely on the sofa, sipping milk tea and watching a TV drama. I wasn't surprised by Zhao Yu's words, because in the previous life Zhang Long also hit people. Every time I stood in front to block the harm for her. But Zhao Yu not only didn't appreciate it at all, but even suspected that I was seducing Zhang Long. In her world, being hit by a super bear was a supreme honor. I not only couldn't cry out in pain but also had to be grateful. I clicked my tongue in wonder. So when the fist landed on her, she also knew how to cry out in pain. In the previous life, when I was beaten by Zhang Long, despite the pain in my body, I showed Zhao Yu the terrible bruises and scars on my body one by one, trying to wake her up from her blind worship of the super strong gene. Unexpectedly, after seeing them, Zhao Yu cursed me. You little slut. You actually dared to seduce my man. I'll kill you. Rain like fists rained down on me. I curled up in pain. I really didn't understand. I was her biological sister. After our parents died, we depended on each other, and were the only relatives left in the world. I truly loved her and was willing to give for her, but in return I got hurt time and time again. Now I understood. She was simply brainless. Thinking of this, I shouted excitedly, Sister, quickly kneel down and kowtow to brother. This is a gift from heaven. Zhao Yu was stunned. She opened her mouth as if to say something. She seemed Jingra and couldn't figure out how the person who used to be obedient to her every word and would exclaim in distress even if she got a small cut had changed so much. Hearing that she was beaten, I was indifferent. I didn't bother to say more and hung up the phone without hesitation. Just wait. Your good days are yet to come. A few months later a call came. It was from the hospital. Zhao Yu was about to give birth. Her super bear husband was busy playing cards and drinking and didn't care about her at all. It was the neighbor who couldn't stand it anymore and sent her to the hospital. The hospital found my contact information from her phone. I didn't want to go at first, but then I thought about it. I was quite curious to see if she could actually give birth to a super bear baby. After much deliberation I still went. This was the first time I had seen Zhao Yu in several months. Zhao Yu's belly was incredibly large. She walked unsteadily, and with each step, her belly swayed up and down to an alarming extent, as if it was about to explode. When the doctor saw me coming, he quickly asked me to persuade Zhao Yu to have a cesarean section. The fetus in her belly was too large. Forcing a natural birth would be dangerous not only for the fetus but also for the mother. As soon as Zhao Yu heard this, she immediately howled, Quack doctor. I'll see who dares to touch my belly. There's a super bear baby in my belly. It must be a natural birth. Whoever dares to touch my belly, I'll kill them. Before she finished speaking, Zhao Yu let out a pig-like scream that resounded throughout the floor. In the end, regardless of whether she liked it or not, she was pushed into the delivery room. A few hours later, the baby and she were wheeled out together. I stepped forward to take a look. Wow, really? It weighed a full 10 pounds. The baby's face was full of fat and really resembled its super bear father. This super bear family had finally made Zhao Yu fulfilled. I heard the nurse complaining that after the baby was born, Zhao Yu was so afraid that someone would swap the baby that she held on tightly and wouldn't let go. Then Zhao Yu was wheeled out. She was so weak that she couldn't even lift her arm, but she still didn't forget to sneer at me. Zhao Qing, in this life I still gave birth to a super bear baby. Now you can never catch up with me. You're just insanely jealous and can't do anything about it. My heart skipped a beat. In this life, I had never tried to persuade her not to give birth to the super bear baby. Instead, I had encouraged her. Her words just now were clearly memories from the previous life. I understood immediately. So Zhao Yu had also been reborn. Well, in this life, let her see with her own eyes the surprises that the so-called super bear baby she talked about could bring her. The project was successfully completed, and I got a promotion and a raise. My salary doubled. In the previous life, I gave up this opportunity to take care of Zhao Yu. As a result, my colleagues from the same period all got promoted and received raises while I remained stagnant. Fortunately, in this life, I didn't let this opportunity slip through my fingers. When I learned about Zhao Yu's news again, it was because her super bear husband Zhang Long tried to violently assault a girl. Fortunately, passers-by discovered it in time and a disaster was avoided. The girl was beaten with multiple injuries on her body. When Zhao Yu found out, her first reaction was to blame the girl. She asked why the girl was wearing a dress. Was she trying to seduce her husband? A girl wandering around outside in the middle of the night was just asking for it. Now she was playing innocent. She even shouted that being liked by Zhang Long was the girl's fortune and honor. The girl, concerned about her reputation and not wanting to make a big deal out of it, and knowing that an attempted crime wouldn't result in a long sentence, originally wanted to settle the matter privately and ask for compensation. But because of Zhao Yu's interference, the girl's family refused and demanded that Zhang Long be held accountable to the fullest extent. When I received Zhao Yu's call, she finally became scared. With a sobbing voice, she said, Sister, please save Brother Long. If it weren't for the fact that I'm still in the confinement period, that little slut wouldn't have had a chance. Now she's turning the tables and saying that Brother Long raped her, and is demanding 500,000 yuan in compensation. Otherwise, she'll call the police and pursue Zhang Long's criminal responsibility. I knew their financial situation. Zhao Yu was spoiled and didn't work. Zhang Long loafed around outside all day, claiming to be making friends, but actually he had no job. So they wanted me to clean up their mess again. In the previous life, I did clean up their messes time and time again. Now I wish they would die quickly. How could I give them money? I spread my hands and said, I have no money. Zhao Yu's voice suddenly became shrill. How could you not have money? You earn money but don't spend it on me. Before our parents died, they clearly told you to take good care of me. Do you have a conscience? Every time Zhao Yu needed me, she would bring up our parents. When our parents were still alive, as long as I showed the slightest reluctance to help Zhao Yu, my parents would scold me. They would always say the same few words over and over again. We're a family. It's so nice to help each other and live in harmony. Conversely, if I needed Zhao Yu's help, they not only wouldn't say anything to Zhao Yu but would instead scold me for being incompetent and causing trouble for the family. So this so-called harmonious family was all built on my lifelong dedication. I sneered. How have I not lived up to our parents? I was the one who took care of everything when our parents passed away. And didn't you take all of our parents' savings? Let me tell you, even if my mother were still alive, I wouldn't fall for your tricks. You're a leech. I won't do this. Then I hung up the phone. In the end, Zhao Yu sold the house left by our parents to scrape together 500,000 yuan to settle the matter. This was just the beginning. On Zhao Yu's account where she recorded her life, her super bear baby Zhang Yaozu was stronger than other babies from birth. When breastfeeding, he almost bit off Zhao Yu's nipple. Zhao Yu said this was a sign of extraordinary talent and great strength. When he was 2 years old, Zhang Yaozu almost poked out another child's eye while playing with other children, so no child was willing to play with him anymore. She said he was combative and brave. As he got a little older, Zhang Yaozu, following his father Zhang Long, learned to peek at girls in the toilet and was collectively complained about by the parents of the girls in the kindergarten. Zhao Yu went to the kindergarten and caused a huge scene, rolling on the ground and making a fuss, saying that they were discriminating against her child, and that she would sue the kindergarten and the parents. The father of one of the girls was quite reasonable and took the initiative to stand up and say, Yaozu's mother, Yaozu is still young now. Take him home and teach him well. In the future, Yaozu can still correct his mistakes and become a good child. We all have children and we are also considering the children. You should understand, right? The girl's father was wrong. Zhao Yu really didn't understand. She only felt that her super bear son had been bullied, and actually by a group of inferior people. Zhao Yu covered her ears and kept shouting, jumping up and cursing. Nonsense. My son is a super bear baby. He was born to improve the genes of you inferior people. Why don't you say that your daughter seduced my son? My son is only 5 years old. If your daughter weren't promiscuous, would my son even look at her? Little slut. Damn it, she was born a whore. Even the most good-tempered father couldn't tolerate such slander of his daughter. These words infuriated the girl's father. He couldn't hold back any longer and rushed forward to slap Zhao Yu. Bitch. With a mother like you, no wonder you have such a son. I'll smash your filthy mouth today. As he spoke, he punched Zhao Yu again. Zhao Yu didn't expect the other party to actually dare to take action. She screamed and pounced on him, biting and scratching. The two got into a scuffle. After all, Zhao Yu was a woman and didn't gain any advantage. Instead, she was punched a few times. When Zhang Yaozu saw that people were fighting, he also screamed, picked up a stone on the ground, and threw it at the girl's father's head. The girl's father kicked him away, and he fell heavily to the ground. How could Zhao Yu stand by and watch her precious son being beaten? She hugged the girl's father's leg tightly and refused to let go. Finally, the police arrived and separated the two. After the police's investigation, the situation of the two was considered a mutual fight, but it was the girl's father who made the first move, and Zhao Yu was more seriously injured. The girl's father was judged to compensate several hundred yuan for medical expenses, and the matter of Zhang Yaozu peeking at the girl's toilet ended with his expulsion from the kindergarten. Someone posted this incident online, causing a huge stir. Netizens promptly dug up Zhao Yu's account and rushed to leave insults and curses under her account, saying that Zhao Yu and Zhang Yaozu should die together. But Zhao Yu was like a fighting rooster, showing off her wounds everywhere, exaggerating how brave Yaozu was, that he dared to stand up and protect her when someone hit him. He was indeed a superhero baby. The neighbors and relatives in the community were extremely troubled by this. They wished they could spray some disinfectant alcohol whenever they saw the three-member family of Zhao Yu, for fear of getting bad luck. They also knew very well how difficult the three-member family of Zhao Yu was to deal with. I sneered secretly. Just let it be. I'm waiting for the day when her super bear baby backfires on her. Zhao Yu firmly believed that Zhang Yaozu was a super bear child prodigy, extremely intelligent, and that any school would be fortunate to have him. After she ran herself ragged and talked her lips off, no school dared to accept Zhang Yaozu. Zhao Yu was so angry that she rushed into the school, smashing and hitting things. Ungrateful wretches. My son is a super bear. If you don't teach him, I'll teach him myself. When my son becomes famous, you won't even be worthy of shining his shoes. She didn't really want to teach him herself. The scapegoat she thought of was me. She called me and said, send me your address. I'll bring Yaozu to see you tomorrow. You tutor him in his lessons every day. Hearing her arrogant tone, I was deeply speechless. Dream on. I won't give you the address, and tutoring is even more impossible. I directly refused. I'm not available. Teach your own son. Zhao Yu didn't care. You can just resign and come back to teach Yaozu. I heard that you're not married and don't have children. When you die, everything will be Yaozu's. Anyway, you're a woman with no ability. Come back and get married. You can also get a bride price to help Yaozu marry a wife. Zhao Yu's shamelessness almost made me laugh out of anger. I promptly blocked her number. I hadn't blocked her before, just simply wanting to see her end. Now she was actually scheming for my property. Dream on. Just when I thought everything was calm one day when I got home from work, I suddenly found that the lock on my front door was broken and the door was ajar. The tidy room had become a mess. The pure white carpet had some unknown yellow-brown liquid on it, which was extremely disgusting, and my treasured figurines were casually thrown on the ground, their heads and bodies separated and smashed to pieces. I was so angry that steam seemed to be coming out of my head. Just then I heard a familiar voice coming from the bedroom. Yaozu, all these will be yours in the future. That bitch used to be my servant, and now mom is passing it on to you. You can do whatever you want with her. She deserves it. I took a deep breath, rushed into the room and dragged Xiaoyu out. Xiaoyu looked smug. You didn't tell me the address, but I still found it. You can actually live in such a big house. It seems you've earned a lot of dirty money these years. You're really heartless. I'm your biological sister. I'll come and live in this house in the future too. I was really extremely speechless. I cooled my face, but Xiaoyu didn't care at all. You're my sister. Taking care of me and Yaozu is only natural, isn't it? I stared at the mess with figurines, skincare products, and cosmetics scattered all over the floor. I was burning with anger. I suddenly grabbed her hair forcefully and slapped her several times. Xiaoyu exploded. Bitch! How dare you hit me? Since my rebirth I had been keeping fit and had even specially learned boxing. Xiaoyu screamed and waved her arms. I slapped her 2 more times. She covered her red-cheeked face and looked at me viciously, as if she wanted to cut me into 1,000 pieces. I called the police. When the police arrived, Xiaoyu cried and made a scene, refusing to cooperate. She cursed me on the ground. Your conscience has been eaten by dogs. I'm your biological sister, and you called the police to arrest me. When the police heard this and realized it was a domestic matter, they were reluctant to arrest her forcefully and gave me a helpless look. Xiaoyu immediately jumped up, complacent. She thought I would be soft-hearted and let her go as usual. My next words were, arrest her. She broke into someone else's house without permission and damaged so many of my things. Officer, I demand that she pay the due price. Xiaoyu was finally taken away and detained for half a month. She reluctantly compensated me for my losses. Yaozu is a super bear baby. He will definitely make a name for himself in the future. If you don't help him now, don't expect him to help you when you're in trouble. I really didn't bother to pay attention to her. I took the money and left. Although I didn't actively pay attention, news about Xiaoyu still reached my ears more or less. I heard that later, having no other choice, Xiaoyu had to teach Zhang Yaozu herself. But this super bear child only grew in strength and not in intelligence. He couldn't even learn the most basic multiplication table. Xiaoyu taught it over and over again until she ran out of patience. She was dumbfounded. How is it possible? Super bear children have superior genes. How could they not even know the multiplication table? No. Super bear means superhero. How could they be stupid? I don't believe it. She just couldn't bring herself to admit that the super bear gene was an inferior gene. What was even more unacceptable to her was that 2 out of the 3-member family of hers were super bears. Xiaoyu remembered how popular she was on the internet in her previous life and how glorious she was. She forced herself to remain calm and started showing off her super bear family on the internet again, bragging about how excellent her husband and child were. She seemed very affectionate in the live stream. Netizens noticed the purple-blue scars on her body. Xiaoyu stubbornly claimed that she got them from bumps and knocks. Then she asked Zhang Yaozu to perform the multiplication table that he had Halbarongyi learned. Zhang Yaozu cried and refused. She coaxed him in a low voice and finally got him to agree. The next second, Zhang Yaozu picked up a pair of scissors and stabbed them hard into Xiaoyu's thigh. You make me learn this and that every day. I'll stab you to death. See if you still dare. Netizens' comments were as sharp as poisoned arrows. Is this the retribution of super bears? I recognize this brat. He's the little scoundrel who peeked at girls in the toilet before. At that time, she said that the little scoundrel had superior genes, and that he would come to benefit humanity. I heard that her husband is also a super bear. The super bear family is really something. The public attention that Xiaoyu had fantasized about finally came, but in a different form. Now she was like a rat crossing the street, with everyone shouting to beat her. On her doorstep, someone splashed the words "the super bear family" in paint. It was really retribution. I knew very well that Xiaoyu was a cruel-hearted person. In her previous life she could kill her own biological sister, and she could do it in this life too. I immediately changed my residence and moved away from this place of trouble. Facts proved that my decision was correct. Something happened on the night I sold the house. I sold the house at a low price to an older brother. The older brother and a few of his brothers were cleaning the room at night. Coincidentally, the desperate Xiaoyu, together with Zhang Long and Zhang Yaozu, secretly ran to my former residence. When they knocked on the door they were stunned. The older brothers were not easy to bully. Before it was their 3-member family bullying others. Now it was their turn to be like fish on the chopping block, at the mercy of others. A group of them pinned Zhang Long to the table. The knives in their hands glinted coldly. Even a super bear trembled with fear under absolute force. The 2 of them emptied their savings and were beaten up before they managed to escape. After they escaped, Zhang Long vented all his anger on Xiaoyu. In the face of a man stronger than him, he was submissive, but towards a woman weaker than him, he struck with all his might. Even Zhang Yaozu, the son that Xiaoyu doted on, stepped forward and kicked her a few times. But she didn't seem to have much resentment. Shi Fengkong brainwashed herself that Zhang Long and Zhang Yaozu beat her because she had done something wrong. As long as she treated them well, everything would be okay. She confused the memories of her previous life and this life. Xiaoyu always thought that she and Zhang Long would still live a sweet, happy and affluent life as in her previous life. This peace was soon shattered. I learned from my relatives that when Zhao Yu was out, she happened to see Zhonglong hugging a young girl and chatting and laughing. She went home and cooked as if nothing had happened. After coaxing Zhang Yaozu to sleep, she called Zhonglong home for dinner. Zhonglong didn't want to go home to see her at that time. Zhao Yu lied to him, saying that I had given her a sum of money, which was enough for them to start over. Zhonglong believed her. After going home and eating the food Zhao Yu cooked, he immediately vomited blood and had severe abdominal pain. It turned out that Zhao Yu had put a sufficient amount of rat poison in the food. Zhonglong died at home just like that. When Zhao Yu was caught, she sat there blankly muttering, "This shouldn't be the case. We were so in love. Why did he betray me?" After Zhao Yu was arrested by the police, she was prosecuted for intentional homicide and sentenced to 20 years in prison. I specifically went to see her once. During the 10-minute meeting, I just quietly watched her go crazy. The way she looked at me was full of venom. "Zhao Qing, you did it on purpose. You deserve to die. I know you were reborn. If you were still like in the previous life, persuading me not to have a child and obediently being killed by me, how could I have ended up like this? You ruined me." Look, whether I persuaded her or not, she would push all the blame onto me. She was just that kind of person. I stood up and looked down at her. "Isn't all this what you wanted? I respected your choice. You got the super bear baby you wanted. Why aren't you happy?" Looking at her ferocious face, all the memories of the previous life rushed back to my mind. "Don't leave. I want to kill you. Kill you. Don't be too proud. Next time I'm reborn, it's hard to say." I smiled faintly. "You're wrong. A person like you doesn't deserve to be reborn. Rot in prison." And my life was still very long. Amid Zhao Yu's roars, I turned and left. Since Zhang Yaozu had no guardian, the police found me and asked if I was willing to be his guardian. After learning that his biological mother had killed his biological father, he didn't show much reaction. He stared straight at me. "Auntie, I heard that you're very rich. You'll give me money, right?" I looked at him expressionlessly. He was as vicious as his father. I wouldn't adopt him, but I also didn't want him to do evil and harm others. I sent him to a carefully selected institution. What awaited him would be an endless hell. If he reformed himself, perhaps one day I would be soft-hearted and take him out. But that was something for the future. Everything was developing in a good direction. I was also about to start welcoming a new life. The end.